This week on Quite Frankly, to Irish fans around the country, he's the savior who brought the luster back to the Golden Dome. Notre Dame head coach Charlie Weis has already revamped the country's most storied program. Now, can he bring a national title to South Bend? I'll ask him. Listen up. Welcome back to Quite Frankly. You know, every week I like to get together with an eclectic and intelligent mix of people from the sports world and beyond to talk about what's going on. I call it my front page panel. Joining my panel this week is Mr. Glenn Toby, a sports agent who represents more than 25 NFL players and founder and CEO of the Terra Firma Sports Agency. And Mr. Paul Rodriguez, a comedian and actor who has appeared in more than 30 movies. He is now touring on the comedy circuit in Crown Royal's Latin Kings of Comedy. And, of course, Mr. Mike Paul, president of MGP and Associates, a public relations expert who Sports Illustrated once labeled Mr. Fix-It. Please give my panel a round of applause, everybody. Issues to get to. Let me get to my first one here. Let's get to it. University of Georgia President Michael Adams sparked an uproar recently when he admitted to accepting athletes who don't meet his school's basic academic requirements. His reason, the Bulldogs have to be able to compete in the Southeastern Conference. Is this right or wrong, Glenn? I'm going to start with you.
Totally wrong. I think we have to set standards, not just in the NFL. We always constantly look at sports. We complain about these athletes, but the trouble starts in the home. We have to set a standard. And if you look at the benchmark that we set is constantly sliding, and you get somebody inside the university that's making it easy and shifting things that's working against what we need in society, not just as players, as human beings, it's a crime.
What about you, Paul?
It's hard for me to concentrate because his watch is blinding me. This man has a serious bling, but if I could...
Go ahead, Paul.
All I can say is that it's Georgia.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Uh-oh. What does that mean, it's Georgia?
It's Georgia. I've been to Georgia. Georgia really has not recovered. It's a place that basically it looks upon African Americans and other people and Latinos as people that we're not really supposed to be smart. Right. When I was a younger man, I was drafted and I was at Mississippi in Biloxi, right? We used to go out to Georgia. I remember the flat-out beliefs people said in their mind. They peg you. They put you in a certain place, and you're not supposed to move from there. See, so if Georgia, apparently to this university, it is far more important for them to be winners on the field than in the classroom.
You shaking your head no? Why?
This has less to do. I mean, obviously there's race issues in this country, but this has to do with green. The NCAA. It's more about the money. It's less about education. We have the honor of representing Asante Samuel, who came from a smaller school. Mm-hmm. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He works hard. He worked hard in college. He worked hard at home. And it's about work ethic. It's not necessarily about the skin. It's about that money.
I think you're talking about the right. I think you're talking about right and wrong. And I mean, he's saying the same thing that you're saying.
It's not as eloquent.
All right, I got you. But go ahead.
Jump in
go
here
ahead.
Because I think this is about whether it's an educational institution or the minor leagues. I mean, the bottom line is there is big money in college sports, billions, not millions, and it's either going to be an educational institution or it's going to be the minor leagues for you to try and make it pro. The problem is it's not many that can make it.
But wait a minute. We know about the listen, let me tell you something right now. There's a lot of good that the NCAA does to some degree, but you know a lot of people out there think that they're the paragon. They're just hypocritical. We all know this. And the fact is that even though some people will look at it as a minor league system, the bottom line is they've never admitted it. And because they've never admitted it, it's an educational institution. So when you're talking about the standard, I'm wondering really not about what it is, but about whether or not they'll ever just come out and admit it. And to me, it sounds like they're admitting it.
Let me give you an example. George O'Leary at Notre Dame. You were just talking about Notre Dame a little earlier. When he had his problems as coach, they had to decide, are we going to keep this guy on because he's just an excellent coach, or are we going to lean towards it being an educational institution? He lied on his resume. And guess what? He got the boot.
Well, wait a minute. But did he get the boot because he lied, or did he get the boot because we found out he lied, and therefore Notre Dame had to give the impression that they were being righteous and doing the right thing?
The bottom line is George O'Leary has to be responsible for his actions, and Notre Dame ultimately did the right thing. That's what I think.
So if they wouldn't have found out, it would have gone on. I agree with you. Had this lie issue wouldn't have come out, all things are good. Look, as long as a school has a winning team,